By the time Trig rolled around, everything seemed to be back to normal. Corvin was surrounded by his friends again and smiling like nothing happened. On his way to his seat, he slipped a small folded bit of paper onto my desk. He didn't look my way at all, though. Well, that was pretty smooth. I hesitantly unfolded it. You know, you have my phone number. I mean, me, Girl Got Game, Molly, will always appreciate a handwritten note that's written in such beautiful handwriting. But I'm just saying, you do have her number. You could have texted. Alright. So let's read his note first. Oh, he even did an emoji. Oh, he's got me.
Hey, sorry if I startled you this morning. When I think about it, I guess it did look pretty suspicious. I'll meet you in the club room tomorrow morning to explain things a little. I think I kind of owe it to you.
What name is that? Dawa? Dana? Dana. Dawa? Dana. There we go. Dana. Dana? Eh?
Dana will be fine. She went home with a mild headache. By the way, you really are a lot stronger than you look. Corvin.
I frowned down at the paper. A full explanation would be nice, of course, but he didn't have to go that far. I was just planning to ask Allie about it anyway. She was a pretty reliable source of information. I folded the paper and slipped it into the little journal where I'd been keeping all my research notes. The more I learned about him, the more unusual Corbin seemed. Is that for real in there? Is it in here? Lies. You sit on a throne of lies, Nora. I watched him from my seat as he joked around with his friends. From afar, he just seemed like a frivolous guy that spouted flattery to win people over. Not at all like someone that did exorcisms under the stairs. Well, that's kind of the point. I wondered vaguely what everyone would do if they knew he was a wizard. Or what they would do if they knew any of us weren't exactly what we seem. It would depend on the person, probably. After my last class that day, I stopped by my locker to dump everything before heading up to the club room for our club meeting. I use the term meeting loosely, since there didn't seem to be much organization to the club itself. Usually, by the time I got there, everyone else was leaving. The last time I asked, they just said most of them had errands and things to do for Velos or the agency, which didn't seem above using high schoolers for unpaid labor. Actually, I didn't know they were unpaid. I was just assuming that because I was a pessimist. Fair. I was unsurprised to arrive and see everyone else getting ready to leave.
Hey, Nora. And bye.
The afternoon huddle is already over and you're leaving me again. I was teasing, mostly. It seemed like they did sort of meet up, touch base, and scatter. Danny gave me a friendly smile.
Sorry, Velo's had something for us to take care of again.
I knew it.
See you tomorrow, okay?
Yeah, I'll see you later.
I promise that after next week, we won't run off so fast anymore.
By then, I'm going to be so used to having the club to myself that having you people around will just be a nuisance.
You better not let yourself get too used to it then.
He waved as they went out. Mark and Ewan left with them. Allie was nowhere in sight. I checked my phone to see if she'd texted. Usually she'd check in before running off wherever the agency had her going. Aw, hi, William! William shot me a shy smile as he went to the library.
I also have someone I have to meet with. Velos asked if you'd straighten the club room.
Yeah, no problem. I wanted to snark about that because I hadn't exactly joined the club to straighten the club room. But William, of all people, didn't deserve my sarcasm. Agreed, he is the sweetest bean.
Thank you.
He smiled apologetically and disappeared into the library. Left alone, I looked around the cluttered room and sighed loudly. Cleaning. Fun. I dropped my things near the door and started gathering the scattered magazines on the coffee table. I mean, at least it's not supernatural. Cleaning's pretty mundane. Honestly, people are such slobs. There was some kind of paranormal newspaper thing. Probably Marker Ewan's. A sports magazine. Danny. Girls in swimsuits. Definitely Elliot. What? Elliot seems like the type. Amazing. I dropped that one in the trash with savage glee. Just a little bit of retribution for having to clean up their stuff. I straightened the rest of the pile and set them in the magazine rack, then moved to fluff the sofa pillows. This is so pointless. I should be researching. If I didn't have to wait for Allie, I definitely would have just left.
Oh, they're making you do the cleaning today.
I spun around at the sudden voice, to see Corvin standing in the door watching me.
Sorry, didn't mean to startle you.
No, it's fine. And yes, apparently I am doing the cleaning today.
We have a rotation, but I didn't know they'd added you to it yet.
Well, apparently they have. He smiled slightly as he came inside.
Now they just need to show you where we keep the maid uniform.
Oh no, I'm not falling for that trick again. Nope. Look around you, Corvin. There are walls everywhere. And as you know, I'm perfectly capable of throwing you into them. He just laughed. Oh, he still has a little bit of a bruise. It looks like. Am I crazy? Just like a little owie. He just laughed.
I can help if you want.
Do I get to see you in the maid's uniform then?
Do you want to?
Ew! No! Honestly, does nothing Wait. What is that bruise on his eyebrow? Okay, I'm not crazy. Was that from this morning? I bit my lip anxiously. What happened to your face?
Oh, this? I ran into the flagpole.
Why do I not believe you? Well, at least it wasn't my fault. Unless he was lying about it to make me feel better. Then again, I hadn't noticed it during math, so he was probably telling the truth. Sometimes bruises take a long time to form, though. How on earth did you manage that?
Well, I was running, and I tripped on the edge of the sidewalk and just sort of stumbled into it.
I moved closer to him, leaning in to get a better look.
Come
on, sit. It's swollen and scraped up. I'll clean it and get you a cold pack. I saw one in the mini fridge yesterday.
You don't have to.
I took him by the coat sleeve and led him to a chair at the big table, forcing him to sit. I'd seen a first aid kit somewhere. I rifled around for it in the unlocked cabinet drawers and finally found the white box. I retrieved what I needed, then hunted down the cold pack in the mini fridge. Pulling up a chair next to Corbin, I wet a cotton ball with antiseptic and gently moved his hair aside to dab it on the scrape. He must have just done it. It looked pretty fresh still. His glasses were in the way, so I reached up and pulled them off carefully.
Oh, that's...
Stop moving your head! I gripped his chin tightly with one hand as I continued to clean the cut. Why are you looking at me like that?
Like what?
I don't know. Like that!
You're just being so nice. Not that I'm complaining. I just, you know, thought you hated me.
I told you I don't. Believe me, man. I set the cotton ball aside and dried the area with a bit of gauze before applying the bandage. I owe you at least this much after that little misunderstanding this morning.
Well, that was sort of my fault too, you know. You don't owe me anything.
I set the cold pack against his head.
You're actually pretty nice, huh?
Of course I am. You're acting like you've just realized this.
So all the snark is just bluster?
Ooh. Bluster is a pretty fancy word for you, isn't it?
It's not going to work on me anymore, now that I know you're really just a softie underneath all those thorns.
I scoffed at him as I cleaned up the first aid supplies. You've decided I'm a softie because I was nice to you one time. You're pretty naive, aren't you? As I went to return everything, Corvin reached out and caught my hand. He smiled slightly, a suspicious hint of pink coming to his cheek. Very suspicious.
Thanks.
My own face warmed up a little at the little burst of actual sincerity from him. You don't have to thank me. Everyone babied him so much, I wasn't sure why he felt like he had to go out of his way to thank me like that. Anyway, if someone doesn't look after you, you're going to end up in the hospital with some kind of horrific eye infection or something.
I'm not that bad.
I pulled my hand away and hurriedly went to put the supplies away and finish cleaning so I had time to at least read a little. He quickly slipped his glasses back on. You are definitely that bad.
So mean.
With my back to him, I paused what I was doing. Hey.
Yes.
Was Dana really okay?
She will be, after she recovers.
I'm glad. I glanced over my shoulder at him. He'd already turned away from me and was flipping through his grimoire. I finished what I was doing and curled up with a book in my journal to try to get some reading and research in. Oh, that transition.
Sorry I couldn't hang out with you in the club room today.
Nah, it's okay. In any case, I mostly just cleaned. I did get in a little bit of reading. You may find this difficult to believe, but I actually get more research done when you're not there to distract me.
I refuse to believe I'm a hindrance to your research.
What were you doing the whole time anyway?
Just helping prep for next weekend. With Halloween and Samhain coming up, there's a lot to get done.
Yeah, you keep saying that, but what exactly are you guys doing?
Mostly boring stuff, to be honest. Like, I don't know, cordoning off places we can't afford any random cryptics getting into. And I can't remember if I mentioned this, but the borders of Fairy expand during Samhain. A lot. But Fairy is kind of amorphous, so every year it's a bit difficult to predict exactly where the border will fall.
Thank you for that little update. I will read about that. Let's see. There we go. Fairy is not just the name of a large and diverse species, but it's also the name of their homeland. The exact location of Fairy is disputed, and there are numerous ways to travel there from the real world. Some parts of Fairy have proper names, but Fairy is the name for the entire world, though it's still confusing since that's also the names for the creatures that live there. Like Spriggans. And that's a problem?
Fairy has a fairly big overlap into Pine Hollow, so if we want to keep people from accidentally wandering in, yeah, it's a problem.
I suppose that would probably be unfortunate.
Anyway, there's a bit more to it all. But what it comes down to is a lot of drawing maps and walking around to check on stuff. Velos has had me taking a bigger role in it all this year since I'm an official intern now.
Velos? The library wizard?
He's not just a library wizard. He's an agent with a local branch of the NPRA, you know.
The mysterious agency? Really? I actually did not know that. Allie pulled into my driveway and waited for me to climb out of the car.
I'll see you in the morning.
Sure. Bye. I waved as she drove off, disappointed that I really hadn't had the chance to talk to her about Corvin. I guess it would have to wait until tomorrow. Or you could let the boy explain himself. Although why he didn't do it this afternoon is beyond me. I'm home. Mom peeked out of the kitchen as I started upstairs. From the looks of it, she'd also just gotten home from work.
Homework?
A little.
You look tired. Long day?
You have no idea. She disappeared into the kitchen again.
Get your homework done right away.
Yeah. Once upstairs, I dropped my book bag on my bed and flopped next to it, sighing. Today was weird again, as usual. And Corvin.
Is that what kind of guy you think I am?
It wasn't that I thought that, but I hadn't really imagined that people could get possessed by things. Not that the idea was more foreign than wizards and the like. I guess my brain just hadn't gotten that far into figuring things out. Besides, it had seemed like the paranormal community was pretty well regulated, but maybe I was wrong about that. At the very least, it was clear they couldn't keep things like possessions from happening any more than normal laws kept crime from happening in normal society. I remembered Allie talking about how some species had motives we couldn't understand, and how that made them hard to deal with. I imagined ghosts were probably like that. Assuming he'd been removing a ghost from Dana, he hadn't really said it was a ghost. That was kind of what I immediately thought of, but maybe there were other things that could possess people. Maybe that's why a wizard is dealing with exorcisms in the first place. I let out a frustrated groan and sat up to fish my math book out of my book bag. Fortunately, I didn't have much homework, but by the time I finished, daylight was already fading and Mom was calling me downstairs to help with dinner. Okay. Chapter 2. The Second Secret. Grand. Corvin had said he would meet me in the club room before school to talk the day after his little exorcism. And then I hadn't seen him at all the next day, except once as he ran off down the hall somewhere. By Thursday, I was planning to just ask Allie if she knew anything about it. I didn't know if Corvin had totally forgotten or if he'd become really busy. For all I knew, he was off exorcising more people. When I made it up to the club on Thursday morning, I was unsurprised he wasn't there. Instead of worrying about him, I retrieved the book I'd borrowed from the library and settled into my normal corner of the sofa to study. This particular book was a huge encyclopedia of occasionally questionable fairy lore. As Allie had suggested, I was taking a closer look into Fae, since it had been sort of accepted that I was one, even though I wasn't sure I accepted it. There was so much information on so many different topics. Trolls, kelpies, pixies, elves. I leafed casually through the book in front of me. It was still so weird knowing those things were real, though the reality sometimes differed substantially from folklore or modern depictions. I closed the book and let out a frustrated sigh. Trolls, kelpies, and pixies were not subjects I wanted to be reading about. What I was really looking for was information about myself. Any hint as to what sort of fae I might be. There were lots of possibilities, but I definitely knew trolls and evil horses weren't among them. And none of those topics had led to a shred of information that might help explain my disappearances, or what had happened to Spencer 5 years ago. Most of the books I'd read so far weren't exactly set up for proper cross-referencing, so it was difficult to find instances of things like fairies connected to amnesia or random blindness. The few things I had found didn't seem to really fit. I flipped open the book again and scanned the beginning of the next chapter, which promised to be a very interesting read about something called a crimbill. Well, tell me about them crimbills. There we go. Crimbills are a type of changeling. That is, a fairy that has been left in place of a stolen human child. There are numerous types of changelings that appear in fairy lore, but the gist is that a child is stolen from a human household and taken to fairy, but a fairy of some kind is left in its place. There's a lot of conflicting info about the how and why throughout changeling lore. Okay. Starting to learn about changelings. My vision went dark as a pair of freezing hands covered both eyes. Hey! The culprit laughed softly.
Sorry. You just looked too serious sitting there reading alone. I couldn't help but want to tease you a little.
Corvin!
You got me.
Who else would it be? He released me, and I tipped my head back to look up at him. He smiled before moving around the sofa to join me there.
I hope I'm not bothering you. I just wanted to say hello.
Well, you did say you were going to stop by to talk. Yesterday.
Yeah.
Is that a new injury I see? I pointed to a bandage above his left eye.
I ran into a cabinet at home.
Good grief. Are you clumsy on purpose to hide, like, your injuries from dealing with supernatural stuff? So that no one questions it, because they're like, it's Corbin. He's kind of clumsy.
So do you always spend your mornings up here alone?
Not always. Sometimes the others are here. Mark, William, sometimes that guy Drayson. I've also seen Shelley a few times as well. We don't talk much, though, even when someone else is here.
Then what do you do exactly?
I mostly just try to catch up on everything I've missed about the cryptic community for the last... forever.
You know, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy.
I'm not a boy, and my name isn't Jack.
You're missing the point, you know.
In any case, I have a lot to learn about all this, as evidenced by the other day.
About that.
He gave me a sheepish smile as he fiddled with the edge of his scarf.
I'm sorry I scared you.
You didn't really scare me exactly.
You did jump right in, didn't you?
Well, I mean, I thought she needed help. We were silent for a moment. Sorry I threw you into the wall.
Actually, it's pretty funny. I didn't expect someone half my size to be so strong.
I'm not half your size.
But you are pretty tiny.
Would you like to be thrown into a wall again? I'm not tiny, I'm not. Okay, just because, I mean... Look, don't mess with me. I'm strong. I'm small but mighty, okay? Want me to throw you into another wall?
No, please don't. I have more than enough luck at running into them on my own.
That was definitely the truth. Actually, I was wondering about that. Did you ever get your glasses fixed?
Oh yeah, they have normal glass in them now.
Thank goodness. And he's still that accident prone? Guess the lenses weren't the issue after all. For someone to have that hostile a relationship with basic physics was definitely distressing.
So, how's your research going anyway?
Honestly?
Well, I was hoping for an honest answer, yes.
I made a face at him and his apparent ignorance regarding rhetorical questions. I don't know. It's only been a week, but I feel like I'm not progressing. Like, I don't really even know where to start. Why are cryptics so complicated?
Because there are a lot of really ancient cultures that are a part of the world on this side of things. There are bound to be complex cultural nuances for any species that's been around for a while.
Complex cultural nuances? You can sound smart sometimes when you try.
I am smart. Sometimes. Most of the time.
He frowned slightly, mulling that over. Am I?
I'm smart about some things.
I like that you admit you're only smart about some things.
I told you before that I'm an honest guy. And now you sound like you don't believe me.
I'm not sure I do. He spewed compliments like some sort of bizarre compliment volcano. He couldn't expect me to believe he actually meant every single one of them. Man, getting so many flashbacks from Chevalier's route. In the original Cinderella phenomenon.
Do you at least believe me about the other day? I mean, with Dana. I've been worrying about that a bit.
I guess I do. Though I can't say I really understand why a wizard is the one handling exorcisms. Isn't that more what priests do?
Well, I guess it depends on what's being exorcised.
So you were exorcising something that wasn't a ghost?
Yeah.
This world really was fraught with danger, wasn't it? I'd been contemplating things like being attacked under bridges or dark alleys, but that wasn't the only threat, clearly. I wondered what other things I needed to be worrying about on a daily basis.
Hey.
I realized I had zoned out again and immediately looked up at him.
You know, you haven't texted me at all yet.
Neither have you. You only wrote me a note. Okay. Oh. I forgot he gave me his number. Has he been waiting for me to text him all this time? Sorry. I guess I haven't had a reason to. Nothing major has happened since that Spriggan thing.
You could always text about your research. If you're not making much progress, maybe I can help.
It seems dumb to ask about general information when I don't even know specifically what I'm looking for. Besides, I usually just ask Allie if I need to know something.
Then you could always just text to say hello.
I could. I gave him a pained smile. I don't really text people for fun much. In any case, I've been going home and passing out right after school nearly every day.
You're passing out every day. Are you okay?
I mean, I've been going to bed early.
Oh, right. That makes more sense.
He looked enormously relieved before giving me a sheepish smile. I seriously can't figure out if this guy is really smart or really dumb. He's not dumb, he just takes things literally.
Haven't you been sleeping well?
It's more like I've been paranoid about sleepwalking my way out into the woods again. Well, you know. Major upheaval in life tends to lend itself to weird dreams. I guess I've also just been thinking about my situation a lot. It's been hard to relax.
Weird dreams, huh?
Yeah. Nothing to worry about, really. He watched me curiously.
Any other issues? I mean, other than weird dreams. Any other weird things happening?
You mean besides finding out magic is real, discovering a hidden library in the school, and getting to know some goofy wizard that does exorcisms?
I'm not goofy.
No, nothing else weird then. Why?
Oh, no reason. Just after the Spriggan thing, I wanted to make sure there wasn't anything else bothering you. Hey, why don't I help you with your research this afternoon? Maybe some guidance will help put you on the right track. Would you like to meet up here after school?
Sure, I guess. I don't really mind. It might be nice to have company. Corvin suddenly grabbed my hands and squeezed them, a brilliant smile on his face.
It's a date. I have to run to class now, but I'll see you this afternoon.
What? Study date? Wait, what? He hopped up and bolted for the door, waving over his shoulder.
Oof!
Good job, Casanova. I watched him trip over his own feet and go stumbling forward into the hall, arms pinwheeling, before he finally regained his footing and darted toward the stairs. Maybe I should catch up with him and walk together. At the very least, I could probably try to catch him if he attempted to fall down the stairs. Again. Or I could also try to skip class and read the whole time. I think that's nice that you want to walk with him. Go walk with your boy. We'll start the date early. I quickly gathered my stuff and darted out into the hall. Excuse me. All this feels are choking my voice, apparently. Okay, let's try that again. I quickly gathered my stuff and darted out into the hall before Corvin could get too far. Corvin! He was already nearly to the stairwell, but stopped to look back at me. Jeez, he moves fast. I'll walk with you. I mean, if you don't mind.
Of course not. I don't mind at all.
He waited for me to catch up and we started down the stairs together. I shivered and glanced behind me as a chill ran down my back.
You okay?
Yeah. You know, I've noticed there's this weird draft right at the top of the stairs. It always startles me, even though I know it's there.
Oh, that's Margaret.
I stared at him. The draft has a name.
Well, it's not a draft. It's Margaret. You know, former teacher. Gray hair, glasses. Looks adorable. Always says hi.
Are you saying the draft is a ghost?
Yup.
Okay, I will write about Margaret. Margaret. Where art thou, Margaret? Not there. There we go. Margaret is a ghost that lives at the top of the stairwell on the 4th floor. Rumor has it she used to be a teacher and died on the premises. Which is kind of sad, really. Anyway, she stands there now and says hi to everyone who passes. I feel bad since I can't see her, and I feel a little silly talking to someone I can't really see or hear. It feels like just talking to a draft. Besides, Corvin told me about her, and I can never tell when he's just pulling my leg. I don't think he really ever does pull your leg, to be honest. Why can't I see her? Not sure I wanted to see ghosts, but still. I was curious. Corvin just shrugged in response, twirling the edge of his scarf as we walked.
Even I can't see all the spirits here. Just a few.
You say that like there are a lot.
There are.
All people who died here? He just laughed at that.
You're so concerned. That's cute.
I made a face at him.
Not all the ghosts here are spirits of dead people. There are other types of cryptics too. You haven't noticed?
Well, I started down to the next landing. I mean, I've definitely seen some weird things. Faces staring down at me from trees, disembodied hands waving from windows, things moving out of the corner of my eyes, but I just catch flashes of things. Nothing that looks solid, nothing I can really see clearly. And have you noticed that some corners or rooms are weird? They just give you a bad feeling. I mean, there have always been a lot of stories about the school and weird things happening. I just shrugged them all off until recently. Still, it's hard to know how much of it is stuff that's really there versus me being paranoid. Besides, if I can see all the other ones, why can't I see her?
Certain types of cryptics are only visible to people who are attuned to their spiritual wavelength. Like how you can only hear a radio station if you're tuned into it. Normally, I can't really see spirits of the deceased, though. I can see Margaret because I'm so used to her already. I guess that with a lot of exposure, you can gradually become attuned to her as well.
So the more I walk back and forth past her ghost, I might see her? I mean, cool. Maybe one day I can talk to Margaret. Let's see. There we go. Non-corporeal cryptics, that is, the ones that don't have bodies, exist on different planes that can really only be perceived by people in tune with their wavelength. It's like being able to see different wavelengths of light that are outside the range of normal humans. Or something like that, I guess. Even other cryptics are only sensitive to certain wavelengths, which means some cryptics are invisible to other cryptics. It's weird. Sometimes you can become attuned to new wavelengths if you frequently interact with creatures that exist on them. Okay. I glanced back at the top of the stairs and shivered.
But if you want to know more about ghosts like her, you should probably ask William.
I knew he was going to be my ghost boy. Why William?
He has more experience with that type of spirit.
I mulled this over as we reached the bottom of the stairs. It's creepy there are so many things I can't see. I'm struggling to cope with the ones I can see.
There's no reason to be creeped out. Not all ghosts and spirits are bad, you know. Even that Spriggan may not have had ill intent. There are just some beings we can't understand very well.
Which is weird, considering we're also cryptics.
Different types of cryptics have different cultures, motivations, and obligations. Just because you're part of the bigger group doesn't mean you'll always understand what the others are up to.
Talking to Corvin was always a strange experience. Sometimes he acted completely daft, and others he sounded so knowledgeable. I couldn't quite figure out which side of him was the real Corvin. I guess that does make sense. I sort of imagined cryptic society as more homogenous, though.
Nope, but you'll learn.
He took my hand and squeezed it. Very handsy, this boy.
I'm really glad you've started accepting us.
I don't really have much choice. Yeah. You know, some of you are kind of alright and cute looking. To be honest, I was really nervous about the whole thing at first, but I guess you guys aren't all that bad.
Does that mean you're starting to like us?
Well, I don't know about all of you. I mean, Danny's okay. And Elliot.
And me.
Well... I shrugged. Jury's still out.
Really?
You're okay. When you're being quiet.
Nora. I'm never quiet.
Exactly. I shot him a teasing grin. I know.
That was mean. You're so mean.
So I've heard.
Now you just need to threaten to throw me into a wall again, and it'll feel like the day is complete.
I snickered softly as he leaned down to peer at me curiously.
I'm not even a little okay.
I guess you are. A little.
Glad to hear it.
He looked way too pleased by that.
Anyway, my class is this way, so I need to go. See you this afternoon.
Sure, see you. He went speeding down the hallway at his usual breakneck speed and nearly ran straight into an open door. Typical Corvin.
Hi, Corvin.
You're having lunch with us, right?
Hey, Cor.
Hi, Ray. What's up, James? Sorry, Em, I already promised someone else.
As usual, a chorus of greetings followed him as he ran. At least stay and listen to the answer if you ask someone, what's up? Corvin Beltran, no running in the halls!
Sorry. By the way, love that tie.
He sort of slowed to a jog as he passed the classroom. Ferretti didn't even seem put out. Then again, he did get a tie compliment out of the whole thing. I shook my head and smiled. I kind of figured you must be around for that whole cute walk date we just had. You and I are gonna have issues, aren't we? As I turned away to head to my own class, I spotted Kara standing a short distance down the hall glaring at me. Ugh. If it wasn't Spencer raining gloom on everything, it was her. Maybe the two of them should get together. I did my best to ignore her as I walked past. Luckily, she didn't seem interested in picking a fight first thing in the morning. I made it to literature just in time and slid into my desk right as the bell rang. My mind, however, was elsewhere. When it comes down to it, I guess I'm getting used to the weirdness. At the very least, I'd started categorizing the weirdness according to normal weirdness and weird weirdness. Corvin, for example, was starting to fit more into normal weirdness. But one of the other things on my to-do list was to figure out which category me being Faye fit into. Grades, fairies, exorcisms, and my weird classmates. There was too much on my mind. Focusing on class was impossible,